Joining me now for the panel, social commentator Prue McSween from Sydney and former Queensland Premier Campbell Newman in Brisbane. It's not Campbell Newman, it's Stephen Conroy. There you go, I can see around the corner of my eye. Hey, I want to just go to this grab last night on Q&A, a comment from Shadow Home Affairs Minister Christina Keneally. Let's have a listen. She says the Morrison government is responsible for the 25,000 odd Australians currently stranded overseas.
It is the Commonwealth's responsibility fundamental responsibility to look after stranded Australians when they're overseas. Hamish, this government was very quick to put in place a plan to ship seafood out of the country. If you are a lobster or a crayfish, you get a chartered flight out of Australia. We've spent $350 million and 1,800 chartered flights taking our seafood out of Australia. Now, that's great for seafood trade. But what have we done for stranded Australians? How many chartered flights? None.
I reckon it was back in February the PM said to Australians, if you want to come home, start making your way. It's now September. You know how many millions it would cost. Is it the federal taxpayers' responsibility, Stephen Conroy?
Well, I think the problem is that Australians who have even got the money to come home can't get a flight. I mean, we've got caps. So I have some sympathy for what Christina said there. I think the government have state governments have reacted to the quarantine problems, but it's time to start letting more Australians who want to come home. We actually have restrictions on incoming, and the stories about Australians having to pay business class airfares or better to be guaranteed a flight, and even then still potentially being bumped. I mean, there are some heartbreaking stories, and I think the government could be doing more in this area.
Yeah, but I'll just go to Prue on this. But Prue, that relies on the states. Well, no one wants to come to Victoria because, they'll just be bringing the disease with them. But all the other states, the lion's share is being left to New South Wales. Palaszczuk doesn't want them. WA doesn't want them. Some students are coming into South Australia. It's the states that have got to lift the game and agree to have them in the first place.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. She needs to call on her mates, her Labor mates, the premiers, particularly Palaszczuk and Andrews, and get them to fund it. Why should the taxpayer of New South Wales, who's pulled its weight more than any of the others, and the national government, when they're doing so much already? I think really the other thing is that a lot of these people, as you said, were told to come home earlier. They left it so late. Now, some admittedly had no alternative. But, to now cry and wring your hands and say, well, poor me. But I think it's really time that, Palaszczuk and Andrews stepped up.
I've got to go to you, Stephen. You've been in and around the Labor Party all your life, and you, obviously they were a powerful Victorian power broker. You certainly still are, probably. I've never seen the Labor Party in so much strife in Victoria on this issue, and one fundamental calamity of government process after another. Is there any way they can turn this around? I mean, it seems to be that Victorians now are really genuinely losing hope and heart.
Well, I think the timetable, the plan of action, whatever you want to call it, has been not well received. I think some of the deadlines and the criteria have left people shaking their heads. I mean, there have been important small changes to the stage 4 lockdown going forward. But the truth is we're pretty much in stage 4 through to the end of October. And the criteria being used of 5 cases, rolling average 14 days, couldn't be achieved in many places in the world that started in better places. So I think Victorians have looked at that and gone, oh my God, we could be stuck in here till Christmas. I think that was a real body blow. And then you've got the clown that is the Chief Medical Officer in Victoria, and you've given him the once-over in your show today, and he absolutely deserves it. He needs to stop doing media appearances and start reading the files on his desk. And he really does deserve to have an absolute caning behind the scenes for his loose talk. I nearly died for Daniel Andrews. If I'd have been in the room when my Chief Medical Officer had stood up and said, oh, no, we didn't really do the modelling out 6 weeks. It was a bit of guesswork. I mean, this bloke needs more than a media advisor to help him at the moment. He has starstruck. He's loving the media spotlight. Well, mate, get on and do your job, read your files and start getting to the nitty-gritty of the issues that you've been supervising.
Yeah, well, Prue, I mean, this is the problem, but Victorians are living with it.
Well, yeah, you know, they say women can't read road maps. Well, you know, Andrew's road map, honestly, is leading to a dead end. You know, I mean, for God's sake. I mean, the man is a narcissist control freak. We know that. He's across everything. And, you know, he's lamenting that he can't see his mother and hasn't for a long time. Well, he's doing her a favour, probably. I mean, the guy is a joke.
Let's just
really sorry.
leave people's family out of it.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, he put his mum in it the other day. He put his parents in it.
He brought it up. You know, and he was trying to get sympathy, for goodness sake. And frankly, there's no sympathy for him. You know, the man has been working long hours. He's created this problem. He's put Victoria behind so far. He might think that his election is 2 years away and people are going to forget him. But, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, forget what he's done. But they won't because, you know, it's not going to recover for years and years and years.
I've got to leave it there. I'm sorry, I'm running out of time. I could talk to you two all night.
Sorry,
Prue
Peta.
McSween, Stephen Conroy. No, it's terrific. It's terrific. Thank you for your company.